Hello, good evening. I am so excited tonight to be sharing a special technique, a special process with you guys. My friend Yvonne is going to hop on with us here shortly. Let's see if I can. Before she hops on, and she'll kind of walk us through that. But it was created to help us process process emotions and process traumas and things that happen in our life that we need a little bit more support with, whether that is something on our day-to-day basis, whether that's something that's really big and really emotional, really traumatic, really different processes and different things that happen. So whichever kind of emotion that it is, that's something that we can easily support with different tools and different things at home. So you're going to grab your lavender, your frankincense, and your stress away. And I did accept Yvonne, but we'll see if it works here. Maybe I can. It says she's unable to join. So maybe, oh, there we go. Okay, can you hear me?
You bet. So
Okay,
wonderful.
good. Beautiful. Okay,
Nice
so
to
I
see
was
you,
just
Rachel.
telling people, just briefly, I wanted this to be a tool for people to use whenever they want. I think that's something that we need more of is, emotional, mental, physical tools that we can have at our fingertips. And a lot of people don't know about AFT. So do you kind of want to walk us through maybe what got you into AFT just briefly and what it is, and then we'll go through it?
You bet. I do want to talk about AFT, but first I have to tell you what I learned just this week about trauma from a coach that I work with and I know Rachel has worked with. And it was so helpful for me. So maybe this will land for somebody tonight. He was talking about the 4 levels of trauma. And he's a dad. And so he talked about how within a family unit, it's important to talk about the 4 levels of trauma so that if someone is struggling with something, you can actually say to them, like, where are you at on this? Like a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Because I'm sure you guys have had this where somebody's in your family upset about something. And maybe you're just kind of blowing it off of, oh, it's just, maybe their time of the month or whatever. You make up some reason that is to dismiss their issue, but maybe it's a really, really serious issue. And he talked about how someone in their life had actually committed suicide. And the family members left behind were left feeling like we didn't know this person was suffering so badly, right? And so his message was to understand the 4 levels of trauma so that we can articulate this to our support network to say, hey, when this is really bad, like I need help. So I want to go through these 4 levels because it was so amazing. And, and I mentioned them to Rachel and she was like, that is good. So here's the first level of trauma. It's equivalent to like blisters on your hand. So you can still do life, but there's some discomfort when you bump it, right? So maybe you've had some trauma in your past and you still can do life really normal. Occasionally it gets triggered and that comes up, right? That's level 1 trauma. Level 2 trauma, he talked about as being like a twisted ankle where you can still do life, but it's uncomfortable as you go, but you can care for it yourself. You're using your oils, you bandage up your ankle, you can get yourself healed on your own. Level 3 trauma is where you need help, more like a broken leg. So you're not going to go and cast or reset your own leg. You need professional help. So you need a therapist, or maybe you need meds, or you need some sort of guidance to get you through that trauma, support groups, whatever it is. And level 4 trauma is where even with the support groups and all the support, it's going to be with you for life. Like maybe people who end up with a diagnosis or struggle with something long-term, or their traumas, they've lost a spouse or gone through a divorce. Like for life, that is going to be part of their reality to deal with. And I loved that explanation. And what I love about AFT, what the heck does this have to do with AFT, is Dr. Benjamin Purkis, who I met a few years ago at a yoga retreat. He is a clinical psychologist, and he was working with patients in his clinic who'd been through severe traumas. And he was helping them with all of his skills as a psychologist. And he started to incorporate essential oils in his practice and in supporting them, and had great success. And so he studied, like, how are the oils helping them? And then he said, if this process can help people with really extreme trauma, why couldn't we teach it to people so they had a tool for the everyday traumas, for the blisters, right? For the sprained ankles, for the stuff that we're okay, but it's just kind of there as an energy leak, or something comes up and it bugs us, or we lose some sleep over it. And so he said, why don't we take these tools of using essential oils in this practice that I'm going to take you through tonight, that they use for people who struggle with big traumas, and teach it to the public so that they can deal with the stuff that comes up every day for all of us. Because there's stuff every day, right, Rachel?
And I think if we don't deal with the everyday stuff, it'll become the big stuff, right? Like when we're not, caring for it in whatever tools and supports and things that we do, then it becomes a big issue, right? And it's just harder to deal with whatever trauma. So I like how you said before, you've said this before to me in the past, when sharing about AFT, is like, if you're somebody who's like, oh no, like that's like not as bad as somebody's, or oh, my trauma's not this, like, no, it's whatever you feel is, like you said, like weighing on you in some sort of way. It doesn't have to be big and massive. It can just be a hard day, right? It's whatever you're carrying on. So I love that we can do this whenever we want, and to have someone kind of lead us and guide us through it is really powerful.
Yeah, and you are such an advocate of this daily self-care work, and it's one of the things I love about you is it's not just like a fad, or oh, this month I'm going to take care of myself, or it's Sunday I'm going to take care of myself. Like, you are so good at creating rituals to support yourself, and then like literally showcasing through social media what supports you. And I know, and that's why people follow you, that it encourages them to have rituals, right? And this is just another one of those tools in the toolbox. So
yeah. And I wanted everybody to be able to share that. So AFT is not one that I do religiously, but it's a tool, right? We just need different options. And if something feels good to you, great. If it doesn't, maybe you'll put it in your back pocket for later.
Awesome. So let's get started. I know Rachel has prepped you on this, but if you have essential oils, ideally you want to get the essential oil Stress Away, frankincense. So Stress Away is a Young Living blend, frankincense, and lavender. And so Dr. Purkis worked with Dr. Gary Young, who started Young Living, did a ton of research on these oils. He worked closely with him to determine what essential oils could be used that would, in this process, that would most impact the brain. Okay, because we're really going to work on how things are being stored in our brain, how memories are and emotions are being stored in our brain. So you want those 3 oils. Now, I do AFT pretty regularly, and you might want to do this. I've taken those oils and I've mixed them up into a roller ball. If you don't have that right now, don't rush off and go blend up your oils. You can just have your 3 bottles, and I will let you know when to use them. So if you're like, do I put them on now? Just wait, you're all good. Grab a pen and a paper. That is going to be important. Now, I'm guiding you live. You might be watching the replay. If you're open to it and you want to put in the comments when I ask, a question, you can put in the comments, or a number. I'll ask for different numbers. Or you can just keep this on your piece of paper. This is totally your own private inner work. If you do share, which I invite you to, it really helps me pace and connect with your energy so that I can serve you best. Okay, so if you're one of the lucky people on tonight, I truly believe, especially after the last 2 years, that through the internet like this, that we are all exchanging energy. It's not the same as being in a room, but it is truly a tangible exchange of energy. So that's why I'm excited to do this. Okay, so I am going to start, because we've been yapping away here, with just breathing some essential oils in. If you've got some with you, I've got present time, so I can be totally present here. This process that we're going to go through is going to take about 20 minutes. if you can find yourself a quiet spot, it is going to serve you well. It is going to serve you well. So the first part of AFT is deciding what intention or goal you want to work on in this next 20 minutes, okay? And so maybe, back to this trauma piece, maybe you have something in your life that is acting like a blister to you right now. Like it's triggered you today, you're upset that your kids didn't eat right, or your husband never did something, or your mom did this, or your neighbor did that, or whatever. Maybe there's something grating at you a little bit and you want to deal with it. And so that would be like your goal, and we're going to write it in positive terms. So say it was with your kids or your husband. I have a harmonious relationship with my children. Or I feel at ease about my contributions to my job. If maybe you're feeling like inadequate or overworked or used. Or maybe you have a health goal. Maybe you would like to eat less sugar. So maybe your desire statement is, I am free of sugar cravings, or I find myself eating healthier and healthier every day. Maybe you have an income goal, and so maybe you want to write out your goal as, I am earning $5,000 a month more. Maybe you have a desire to learn a skill or to pass a certain test. So I have achieved my entrance exams for whatever program. So think about your desire, and I want you on your piece of paper at the top to write out your desire as a positive intention. You're welcome to share it in the comments. Now note, this is not a positive intention. I don't want to yell at my kids anymore. That's fine, goal, but we need to write it as a positive intention. So I speak calmly to my family under stress would be the positive intention. It's really important that we get this part nailed, because it is going to be the foundation of the work we do moving forward, to see what is literally blocking you from achieving that desired state. Make sense? So you write out your desire statement. I have a harmonious relationship with somebody. I'm free of sugar cravings. I am at ease with the timeline of my life. So beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Rachel. Okay. Once you've got that written down, I want you to just check in with your inner guidance. When I say check in with your inner guidance, what I mean is I'm going to ask some questions, and you might feel them like bubble up from more like your chest or your gut, your solar plexus, more than land in from your head. Just stay with me. So when you say this intention out loud to yourself that you have written on your piece of paper, on a scale of 1 to 10, in this moment, how likely does that feel like it will manifest? 10 being like, yeah, I got that. I already got that. 0 meaning like that is never going to happen. And you can put your number in the comments if you'd like. Now here's the thing. If you are already at like a 7 or 8 or 9, I'm going to invite you to switch up your desire statement, because you already got that. You're already done the work to achieve that goal. What is something that you desire that you're not really confident is going to happen? That you've maybe tried before and hasn't gone so well, that you maybe don't know exactly how you're going to get there, and that makes you a little anxious. So refine that so that you're under a 7, and then you're going to dig in. We're going to dig in and get some gold out of it. Okay, so you've got your intention. Write down your number you're at. I want you to again say to yourself that desire statement in your mind. And then I want you to listen for the first negative objection that you hear. The first reason that pops to mind as to why that can't happen. Things like, you've tried before and it hasn't worked. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You don't have enough followers. You don't have enough money. You are not self-disciplined enough for that. You have no idea how to do it. You don't have enough willpower. Everybody's going to think you look silly. Listen for the first negative objection that pops to mind. The first one is the one you want. And then identify how it makes you feel when you hear that voice. How does it make you feel? And looking for feeling words here. You can put it in the chat if you like. How does it make you feel when you hear that voice? Angry, sad, confused, frustrated, afraid, bummed out, depressed, pissed off. How does it make you feel when you hear that voice? And the next question is, where in your body do you feel this emotion? See what comes up for you. And if you need some help with that, you can ask your hand to go to the place on your body where you feel it. For me, my hand just went to my lower back. It might be your chest or your throat, your head, your stomach. Where in your body do you notice this negative feeling? And then I want you to let your mind drift to a time in the recent past, like maybe earlier today, or far distant past, maybe when you were a child, where you felt the same way in your body. You felt the same way in your back or your chest or your head. What is the memory? Just the first memory that pops to mind. Don't overthink it. And once you've got that memory, this is where we're going to use our oils. Can you take a drop of Stress Away, a drop of lavender, and a drop of frankincense in your hand? I've got my blend here. Take those 3 oils, rub them in your hands, and breathe those oils in. Breathe in that mixture of oils while you revisit the memory in your mind. Holding that memory as you breathe in your oils. He said, she said, what is the memory? Continue breathing in your oils. As we smell our oils, it literally disrupts the memory complex itself. You're not going to lose the memory. Breathe in your oils and notice any changes that happen to that memory. Is there anything that comes to mind that you hadn't thought of before? Or does your mind suddenly jump to something else? Just notice the changes. If there are any new beliefs starting to emerge. Okay, and take in one last deep breath and let it out with a big sigh, just letting that go. Nice work, you guys are doing great. And now I want you to revisit your intention on the top of your page. Read it out loud. I'm not, I can't hear you. Read it out loud to yourself. And again, checking in on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely does it feel like that intention can become reality? 10 meaning like, yeah, absolutely, and 0 like, that's never going to happen. And feel free to put that in the comments. And that is what is called 1 round of AFT. So we have just scratched the surface of what is inside of you that might be holding you back from your desires. And we're going to do it again. Okay? And don't worry, you don't need to write down these steps, because Rachel, if you want them, just post steps below and she's going to send them to you. So just stay with us in the process. Okay, so again, I want you to state your desired intention to yourself and listen for the negative objections that come up as to why that can't happen. And you might even take your pen and write down exactly what that voice says, even if it hurts. What is the first voice you hear? And I am a curious question, which I love to ask, is whose voice are you hearing? Is it a parent, a sibling? Is it your own? And next, can you identify how it makes you feel when you hear those words? How does it make you feel? Empty, disappointed, alone, hurt, resentful, used. And where in your body are you storing these emotions? Our issues are quite literally stored in our tissues, and we know that physical stuff has an emotional root. So where for you are these emotions being held in your body? Mine has shifted from my lower back to my mid back. What is it for you? And this is where we time travel. Can you think of a time in the recent or distant past where you felt the same way in your body? Can a memory, what is the first memory that comes up? Don't worry if it's right or wrong or doesn't make any sense to your brain. If it comes up, it's right. And once you've got that memory, you can grab your oils, a drop of frankincense, a drop of stress away, a drop of lavender, or your blend, your AFT blend, and breathe in those oils as you revisit that memory. Sometimes when we visit these memories, we stop breathing. It's really important to keep breathing as you hold that memory in mind. And watching that memory, if anything is softening, if there's any new clarity that comes to mind. What is the wisdom that can come forth as you visit that memory? And taking in another final breath and releasing with a sigh. Yeah, you guys are doing great. Okay, let's revisit the original intention on your paper. You might want to give your body a shake because I know you guys are moving lots of energy through your body as these issues are stored in our tissues and we do this work. That energy wants out and physical movement will help release it. So do what feels right, if that's rolling your neck or your hips. And then I want you to revisit that original intention out loud to yourself, reading it and asking yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is this to manifest? 10 being like, it's happening. And you can share the number or write it down. And that's our second round of AFT. Now, your number might have gone up, it might have gone down. There is no right or wrong about that, okay? Really important to know that. If your number has gone down, it just means you are digging into some deep stuff that's holding you back, and that's okay. And if it's gone up, that's okay too. One is not better than the next. We're going to do another round together, okay? Okay, here we go. So reading your intention out loud to yourself and listening for the voice that tells you why it can't happen. The economy. There's too many other people out there doing it. There's too much competition. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have a degree. I only have 16 followers on Instagram. What is that voice? And how does it make you feel? This is the most important part of this process, is naming the feeling. What is it? How does it make you feel when you hear that voice? Discouraged, like giving up, disappointed, crushed, rejected, unloved. And where in your body are you storing that emotion? Where's the physical place? Let your hand go to that place. And then letting your mind go to a time in the recent, could have been this week, or far distant past where you felt the same way, a memory. Trusting the first memory that comes up. And once you've got that memory, using your essential oils, breathing them in while you revisit that memory. Closing your eyes, focus on the snapshot of that memory, the feeling, the body sensations. What happens when we breathe in these oils is it stimulates a new feeling, which displaces the old feeling that you have tied closely to this memory, because two feelings cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So you're not going to lose the memory, but we're shifting the emotion that you have tied to it. So breathing in your oils as you revisit that memory and noticing for any changes that happen to come up for you. You may notice the sensations start to dissolve. Maybe your memory will jump to something else. Let's take in one more deep breath and let out with a sigh to let that go. Exhaling all of those old emotions out of our body. And again, finding the movement. Oh, this is such a critical piece for me. As I work through this process, I realize I have to move to help shift those emotions, right? Okay, and then let's revisit our original intention. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I got this, 0 being like, it's never going to happen. Where are you at in this moment? Now, that is 3 rounds of AFT. I am going to encourage you, if you are below a 6, to go back and do some more rounds. You can rewatch the recording. We're going to move on to the final step here that's really important, really, really important. And so you can do these rounds over and over again. And yes, on this video, it's taking us 20 minutes to work through it together. But if you make these questions a daily part of your sort of daily or regular practice, when something comes up and the traumas start to blister you or sprain your ankle, you can work these through yourself or maybe with a friend, and it goes much faster, okay? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We've cleared out some emotions. No doubt you have. If you have stayed with us, you have cleared out some emotions in this process. When we've cleared something out, we need to replace it with something else. So I want you to look at your original intention and ask yourself, what are 3 positive words that I now feel about this intention? 3 positive words. Powerful, inspired, motivated. What are your 3 words that you want to replace, the emotional words you want to replace in your body associated with this desire? Love, ease, and joy. Beautiful ones. Okay, and I'm going to share with you like a hack on writing an affirmation that I love. So once you've got, you've got in front of you your desired outcome. So let's say it's to have a harmonious relationship with my kids at bedtime. So this is what you do. You write out, I feel, and choose one of those words. So I feel blank, put one of your words in. And then in my case, having a harmonious relationship with my kids is blank, put one of those words in. I am blank, put one of those words in. And then you write that down on a sticky note or a piece of paper and somewhere where you can see it on a regular basis. And choose an essential oil that you love. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the present time one. You put that oil on your body. You breathe it in. You put it on that piece of paper that has that affirmation. And you read that out loud to yourself a few times, like 7 times, 15 times, maybe 20 times. And every day go back, use that same essential oil. Breathe in that oil, read that affirmation, really anchor that state that you have created, that desired state with all those good emotions to that essential oil and breathe that into your body. And at a cellular level, you are deeply communicating with yourself, your desired state. And from that state, you'll have the clarity, you'll have the motivation, you will have the awareness to receive guidance on your next steps to get there. It's a really, really powerful practice. And I invite you to do it. And I just want to thank you guys, for you all, for joining tonight in this AFT. It feels really, I don't even know what the word is, just like, wow, I'm so glad I used present time because I just feel like so present here with you. And I hope it has served you well tonight.
Thank you, Yvonne. This is definitely not the first time I've done AFT, and I think the power that you said of you can do this on your own at home. It doesn't have to take a long time. So if you need someone to guide you through it, come back to this video, listen to it, and then bring that tool into your life if it feels good for you.
Yeah, so good. Thanks, Rachel, for hosting. I am blown away by the power of this present time tonight because I certainly felt present here.
I picked higher unity.
Oh, really lovely. Really lovely.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. If anybody has any questions or wants any support after this, just message. I'll be sure to respond to everybody.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.